a construction worker.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in the gym, is the pump.
Hello and welcome to another issue of the Headless Hammerhead Guide to Comics and More. Today we are going to pump you full of information as we continue our Power Set series. This time we're dealing with Super Strength Powers. This is a very small set, but it is a very important one, as it is what powers the Hulk, one of the most important characters in Marvel Comics, especially in recent history. So let's get to it.
I want to know why you were in the gym this morning. I was waiting for you.
Why I was in the gym? Because I'm not getting paid. I don't work out.
The Super Strength Power Set only has 12 powers. Well, really only 9 because Jump is a 3-tier power. But and a few of the powers within are also shared with other power sets. But we're going to go into each of them, even ones we've discussed in other videos, and we'll go into details on how these function in and out of combat and what you can do with them. Jump is a 3-tier power set, and starting with Jump 1, basically this power allows you freedom of movement. When you consider how movement is handled in the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, it's pretty interesting because you can divide your movement action into several different actions. So you can do several small jumps, even one large jump. You can practically divide it into one partial large jump in midair, do your action, your full action, do your reaction, and then continue your jump action and complete the rest of your jump. So it is pretty versatile. You can jump in any direction, horizontal as well as vertical. So outside of combat is pretty good, jumping over chasms, things like that at your movement speed, and you can jump straight up as well. So technically you can run up to an enemy or jump up to an enemy, strike them, and then use the rest of your movement to jump up and kind of avoid any reactionary attacks on their part. Jump 2 builds on Jump 1. Jump 1 was a rank 2. This one is a rank 3 with a Jump 1 prerequisite. And basically it makes your jump speed equal to your rank times your run speed. So it builds on the amount of movement that you gain that you can use during each turn, making you very versatile. It's basically giving you super speed where you can keep using movement actions to move around the entire board almost at the higher levels. Especially if you're rank 3, you're already looking at quite a bit of movement. Now outside of combat, it allows you to move 3 times as fast on the board.
Oh, there you are.
And then Jump 3 is a rank 4 with a Jump 2 prerequisite, and really has no in-combat utility because it specifically states that it only functions outside of combat, where your character can jump up to 50 times their jump speed, which is kind of confusing because what is your jump speed if it's 50 times your jump speed? Right? So if you're looking at back to Jump 2, which is the prerequisite, then your jump speed is equal to your rank times your run speed. So if it's 50 times that, now what you're looking at then is 50 times your rank times your run speed. I think it may have been a typo on Jump 3. I think what they meant is 50 times your run speed, but we got to go by what's written. So if it's 50 times your jump speed, you're looking at 50 times your rank times your run speed, which is quite a bit of movement. You're basically flying quite a bit across the board, across the map of the world. In combat, not much. But if we take a look at how these can be used in addition to their current use in combat, other than movement, I would allow feats, because here I'm doing some homebrew using karma. I would allow feats with some powers, being able to use a karma point to do some feats. And because you're using your legs, and this is a power set for your strength, so the strength of your legs is such that you're allowed to do a kick or a drop kick or a jump kick and do some massive damage. So I would use some homebrew rules where you could use a feat, spend a point of karma, and use an attack using your jump power at whatever rank it is, and allow to add a multiplier to the damage based on the level of jump that you have as a character. Now we look at banging heads. It's also part of the martial arts power set as well as the super strength. There's no prerequisites, and it takes a standard action, instant duration. So basically your character would make one melee check against the melee defense scores of 2 enemies within reach. If the attack fails against either foe, it fails entirely. So it's all or nothing. If the attack is a success against both foes, each enemy takes full damage, and on a fantastic success, each enemy is also knocked prone. This is a decent power. Being a rank 1 power, you're basically able to do 2 attacks, an attack on 2 people. Even though it's all or nothing, it's not difficult at the lower ranks to land an attack, I think. So you land the attack, you're doing full damage to 2 people, and you also have the ability to knock them prone if you get a fantastic success. So this is a very, very good power overall. Outside of combat, obviously, maybe for flavor and some kind of a sneak maneuver going into a building or something, or, for brevity's sake, you're not going to play out the combat, then that would be it. Clobber is another rank 1 power. No prerequisites, standard action, instant duration. Character makes a close attack against an enemy. If the attack is a success, the enemy takes regular damage. On a fantastic success, the enemy takes double damage and is knocked prone. So basically, you're doing a regular attack, and you have the chance to do double damage if you land a fantastic success and knock them prone as well. So it is a decent power. It doesn't take any focus points. So yeah, I'll take it. Now, Immovable, we talked about when we discussed the shield bearer powers. No prerequisites, so rank 1 power takes a reaction, and the trigger for the reaction is you're knocked back or knocked prone, and it's an instant duration. Basically, for every point of melee defense your character has, you can reduce knockback by 1 space. Now, we discussed that knockback doesn't really damage you in any way, in addition to the damage you take from the hit, because in the examples in the book, you're going through walls and it's not dealing any additional damage to your character. So really, knockback is an inconvenience at worst, unless you're like on top of a building and it's going to knock you off the side of the building, then it could prove significant. The other use for it is if you're defending, you're the defender, the brick wall for the rest of the party or the team, and you want to make sure you stay near them and you happen to get knocked back or knocked prone, then the Immovable keeps you from that and allows you to stay there and defend your peeps, but it does take up your reaction. So that's that. So Crushing Grip is also a martial arts power set, power and super strength. It's a rank 2 power, takes a reaction. The trigger for the reaction is the target is grabbed, and the duration is instant. It does cost 5 focus. Now the effect is you make a melee attack against the grabbed target's resilience defense, and if it's a success, the target takes regular damage. On a fantastic success, the target takes double damage instead and is pinned. So basically, Granny Smith, you use your action to grab the little girl's hand as she reaches in that cookie jar, and as a reaction you decide you want to punish her and crush her hand. You can do it, but you have to make another attack roll against their resilience, and then you can do full damage. So basically it gives you a free attack as a reaction. You can also do double damage and pin them if it's a fantastic success. So when you pin a character, it works just like grabbing, except that the pinned character has trouble on melee and agility checks and cannot use movement action. So just like grabbing basically keeps you from moving, which this says it again there. And then they have trouble on melee and agility checks as well. So she'll have trouble reaching into that cookie jar with her other hand, and unless she breaks free using an action or a reaction, and then until then you can keep crushing her tiny little hand as a reaction, as an additional attack on her. And the ever famous Smash, it's rank 2 power with a Clobber prerequisite, standard action, instant duration. It does cost 5 or more focus. To explain here, the character makes a close attack with an edge. For this attack, add +1 of the character's melee damage bonus for every 2 points of focus they spend. On a success, the affected target takes the total damage. On a fantastic success, the affected target takes double damage and is stunned for 1 round. So this doesn't add to the multiplier, it adds to the melee damage bonus. So basically you're adding a 1 point of damage for every 2 focus you spend. It says it costs 5 or more focus, but because it's a minimum of 2 per point, so really you'd have to spend 6 minimum to do 3 additional points of damage on your attack. It does give you an edge on your attack though, but it's a rank 2 and does cost focus. I mean, the edge might make it worthwhile. Now we look at Ground Shaking Stomp, which is a rank 3 power with the Smash prerequisite, standard action, instant duration. It does cost 10 focus. The character makes a melee check and compares that against the agility defense of every target within the character's reach, plus their rank in spaces. Any targets the attack succeeds against take half regular damage. On a fantastic success, the target takes full damage and are knocked prone. Now, there's a couple things with this power. So yes, it's a rank 3 and it does cost 10 focus, but it is a very strong power, and this is why. With a range or a reach on the attack of your reach plus your rank in spaces, that's in a radius that goes out pretty far, you can basically take out all the enemies on the board at the higher ranks, and basically you're dealing half damage to everybody no matter what if you make your attack. If you do a fantastic success, they take full damage and they're knocked prone. But here's the real good thing about this power. This doesn't just affect everybody around the character. This only affects the ones that you want to hit. So you can selectively hit who you want to be affected by this power, because it says the agility defense of every target. So if your hero's teammates are not targeted, they don't have to roll and they're not going to be affected. This is one of the strongest powers in this game. It is a ground-shaking power for sure. And in any combat, I mean, this can turn the tide in an instant at the cost of just 10 focus points. It's insane. So if you have a chance to get this power, absolutely take it. And then we have Quick Toss, which has a really inappropriate name because this really is a complicated power. During combat, you have to do quite a bit of calculation. So basically, it's a super strength power, prerequisites, crushing grip, mighty 1, and rank 3. It's a reaction, and the trigger for the reaction is a person the character can pick up is grabbed. Duration is instant, cost is 10 focus. What it does is the character throws the grabbed person at another target. Range is determined by the level of the character's mighty power and the grabbed person's size. Character then makes a ranged attack against the target. Failure inflicts regular damage on the thrown person, who falls prone within 1 space of the target. If the attack is a success, target takes regular damage too. On a fantastic success, target is knocked prone as well. So, looking at Mighty 1, because this is determined by your Mighty level. So Mighty 1 and 2 and 3, basically it treats your character as 1 size bigger for lifting, carrying, swinging, and throwing things, and then it adds some modifiers to your damage multiplier, etc. So if you're Mighty 1, you're 1 size bigger, Mighty 2, you're 2 sizes bigger, and if you're Mighty 3, you're 3 sizes bigger as far as throwing. So then you'd have to turn around and look at the throwing table. So you turn to the page, it says, the ranges for throwing something according to the object's relative size are listed on the objects and sizes table. Alright, so we sneak a peek up above to see the object sizes table and the throwing modifiers and ranges, and well, I won't leave you in suspense. It's really not helpful. So there's no info there. You kind of have to make it up. So like with a lot of things with this game, unfortunately, they leave it up to the narrator because why not? There really is no range listed for throwing objects and sizes, or any objects or items or people or whatever. So you'd have to make it up. As you can see here, throwing range is listed for microscopic through average size, but nothing beyond that, and that's the throwing range, and it's not even based on relative size as they claim it, as it shows on the table. It's just not there. So you're gonna have to make it up. You're gonna have to homebrew some content on that. But overall, yeah, it's pretty good in that, okay, for 10 focus, you can use a reaction to fully damage a character you have grabbed without having to make an attack roll, because if failure on your attack roll, they still take full damage and they're prone. So you not only damage them, but have them land prone in a few spaces away from your space, away from your other target, and you have the potential of damaging the other target and knocking them prone as well for 10 focus as a reaction. So it's not a bad power. Which then brings us to Unrelenting Smash. It's got a prerequisite ground shaking, stomp, mighty 2, and a rank 4 power that it is. Action is standard, instant duration, 15 focus, and more. The character makes a melee check and compares it against the melee defense of every enemy within their reach. An enemy the attack succeeds against takes half regular damage. On a fantastic success, those enemies take full regular damage and are knocked prone instead. Character may then pay 15 more focus to do the same thing again, before which they can move up to half their speed with anything left from their normal movement action. They can keep doing this until they run out of speed or focus. Each character can be affected by this attack by this character only once per round. This would be the most powerful, the strongest power in the game, had it not had this 15 focus point cost. Just like ground shaking stomp, you can affect the entire board basically, and only the bad guys, and you can keep doing this and smashing everybody, doing at least half damage and a fantastic success, full damage, and knocking them prone. And you can keep doing it, just keep paying the 15 focus and just bounce around the board and clear the entire board. It is an insane power. This is what Rico Shield should have been created like, because Rico Shield as it stands is almost impossible to pull off even just one ricochet. But if they had made it this way, where you pay an additional focus cost to allow it to automatically happen, that's how it should have been designed. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But this is what Rico Shield should have been. It is possibly the strongest power in the game, except for that focus cost, because that can drain you down to 0 focus pretty quickly. So all in all, the super strength powers are pretty decent. Couple of very strong powers in combat, 2 of the strongest in the entire game. So actually, I'm gonna have to take that back and say the super strength powers are pretty good in the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. There could have been a lot more. I think they really left a lot open for future expansions, maybe to add more powers to the set. For example, like Hulk's clap. How they didn't include that is beyond me, but I'm going to do a video on powers that are missing from the game in a future video, and we'll discuss all of that then. But all in all, this is a pretty decent power set, pretty good power set actually. And if you have a character that has some of these powers, definitely go for the ground shaking stomp or the Unrelenting Smash. And so ends another edition of the Headless Hammerhead Guide to Comics and More. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I am trying to churn out content. There's so much I have to talk about this game. And our campaign will be starting soon. We're going to do another test run this weekend, and I will put a short video of that as well, so you guys can see action, or the game in action, as we play another test scenario with some homebrew rules and try out some of our new characters that we've rolled up. Check out my store, DangerousWatersComics.com, Dangerous Waters with an S, Comics with an S.com, where you can find anything related to pop culture. You can buy all of your Marvel Multiverse role-playing game supplies there, including dice and all the rule books, and you can pre-order the books as well. You can also find free downloads that you can print out, like my narrator screen. You can print out the random character generator. You can print out my rules for vehicles on there as well, and other stuff that I'll be putting up also. Don't forget to stop by Nick Bacon's random character generator online. You'll be able to find a link below in the description as well for that. And make sure you're subscribing and leaving comments. The contest is still on. You can win up to $300 in prizes from me for liking and commenting and subscribing to my channel. As soon as I hit 249.2 subscribers, I will be giving away a bunch of stuff. You can see information on that on one of my prior videos, so look for that. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving comments, liking, all your emails, all your critiques. Everything helps. So thank you so much. And remember,
we don't bite here.